What is up, you guys? It's your girl Yingsu here for Upcomer, and look, we've all made mistakes before and we've all done things we're not proud of on the internet, including tweeting things that would come back and bite us in the butt. But esports pros are some of the worst offenders of this out there. And today we're going to be counting down 5 esports tweets that should have stayed in these people's drafts. And now, while you're here, make some better decisions with your time spent online, like subscribing to the Upcomer YouTube channel instead of going on your phone and tweeting some nonsense. To start us off at number 5, we have this lovely little tweet from the Immortals social media manager, Portillo, that eventually and ultimately cost him his job. All it took was these 3 words. A couple weeks before his vague tweet, 2 Immortals Counter-Strike players got in trouble for showing up late to 2 different playoff matches, including the grand finals.
But what we are waiting on is the Immortals, who are, well, they're not quite seated just yet.
After the second offense, the coach of an opposing team tweeted that these players were late because they were hungover, and Immortals players K and G then responded with, "Prove it or I'll kill you." So, those 3 words that Portillo responded to a joke tweet with were alluding to his former player's death threat. And yeah, that didn't fly too well with Immortals, and he was fired for the now famous copy pasta.
So I went to the Immortals account and I replied to him saying, "You prove it or ...
Playing off of the threat.
Yeah, like just making a joke with what he said.
But Portillo was almost immediately picked up by Cloud9 to help with their social team, and fast forward a few years on and he's moved up the ladder, now operating as C9's brand ambassador. But fair warning, you guys, this is the only bad esports tweet on this list with a happy ending.
Okay, was this really something that, we kind of dropped the ball on, or is this something
Out of line.
Yeah, out of yeah, like
our number 4 entry is quite the doozy. Longtime NA star jungler Meteos got himself tangled up in a web of half-truths. In spring 2018, 100 Thieves made it all the way to the LCS finals in their inaugural split. But the team wasn't looking so hot that summer. A few weeks in, Meteos was traded to FlyQuest. Meteos claimed he had no idea he was getting traded. It seemed like the sort of reactionary tweet done in the heat of the moment. But the next day, 100 Thieves announced that Meteos himself had requested being traded the week before. They even decided to swap him out together as a team. Meteos deleted the tweet, but it seems he didn't really learn his lesson, because 2 years later, he did the same thing. After a year on Optic Gaming, Meteos returned to 100 Thieves.
My Yeezys are getting a little old. I'm here for another pair. And then I'm back to FlyQuest Academy.
And 3 weeks into the summer split, he had yet another Twitter nightmare. He later left the team and hasn't been picked up since. He flamed his whole coaching staff and the general manager. I mean, sometimes you just gotta ask, Meteos, are you doing alright? At number 3, we have this incredible foot-eating moment caught in 4K, a tweet from which legendary AD carry Forgiven will likely never recover from. Before all this though, Forgiven had been perhaps the greatest League player in Europe around 2017, but he had to retire in his prime to fulfill mandatory military service.
I got a letter from the Greek army that I have to go to my army duty.
After 2 years, he finished his service and announced he wanted to go back to the LEC. So Schalke picked him up for the 2020 season. But just a few weeks into the season, Schalke was 0-6. And that's when Forgiven tweeted this, essentially saying that he was benching himself because the org refused to kick his bad teammates. But here's the thing. After Forgiven was benched, the team started winning.
Schalke with the 2 substitutions. Now they have a win.
They even took down the legendary G2 Esports 2 days after he got replaced. Fans very quickly memed Forgiven, but that's not the worst that came of his decision to hit send on that tweet. He may have also doomed his entire career. A player with a history like Forgiven's would almost certainly be picked up by someone, even after one shaky split. But his clear arrogance was a little too much, and everybody has passed on the Greek god sense. And God, the replies to his looking for team tweet are just too funny. The subject of our number 2 entry starts out in hot water, but adds fuel to the fire for some ungodly reason. In 2021, it came to light that the top NA Amateur League of Legends team, Solofide, was not paying their players. A month later, Riot issued a competitive ruling that the org was banned from all Riot events. Oddity, the owner of Solofide, decided that tweeting would make it all better, and boy, he was wrong. Complications caused by COVID-19, coupled with the inability to transfer funds internationally, has made us unable to pay out our contracts. He was using the platform to explain away the situation with COVID and international payments, and he thanked fans and Riot. Talked about their immense growth and success? I mean, come on dude, read the room. Then, to top it all off, he made an interesting claim saying, Solofide is here to stay. But the best part is, they had already been shut down for failure to renew their business license, so they literally didn't even exist, never mind being here to stay. In our number 1 spot, we have Reggie, the owner and founder of TSM, the most profitable LCS team in history, making an absolute fool of himself on the Little Bird app. After an online discussion sparked up about various LCS owners wanting to remove import restrictions, top NA resident support Vulcan dropped this sarcastic comment on the situation. And Reggie took the bait. This, of course, caught a ton of flack from everyone in the scene. After first dipping his toes into the delete this tweet now pool, Reggie seemed to fall off the deep end. I mean, he really seems to like those imports, doesn't he? He was later reportedly fined by Riot and apologized to Vulcan, who was apparently cool with the whole thing. It's publicly known that he's spending $6+ million across 2 years for his import support Sword Art, and criticizing one of the league's best domestic players was a huge question mark ping. So there's some good lessons here we can learn. Guys, definitely look after your social medias. Don't tweet anything silly. I've definitely tweeted silly things in the past, and I have, fortunately, a couple times been like, insta delete. This is not a good tweet. I've seen some hilarious stuff on Twitter. The memes are elite. I don't think any other app, maybe with the exception of Reddit, has more elite meme libraries than Twitter. Man, it cracks me up so much.